Well, hello, and welcome back to that thing we like to call Curless Mania. We talk all things pop, rock, and prog. And I am so happy to welcome back to the channel someone who is a stalwart on this channel. Um, was here very early on and was always a champion, and I always appreciated that. And you've seen him on his own channel. You've seen him on Grant's Rock Warehouse. You've seen him here. He's everywhere. You've been on Rock Daydream Nation as well, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So and Cretin Classics is his channel. So yeah, so Davey Cretin, welcome back. Great to see you, man. Welcome.
Thanks for having me back on, Tom. It's been a while, and we're continuing with the Cars series on Curless Mania.
Yeah, it took us a minute, but we got here. We're here. We got it. We took us a second to get back to the cars, and actually, it's funny. I had someone ask me recently, "Are you going to continue the cars thing?" I'm like, "Yeah, we are." Actually, it's next week. Finally, where Davey and I are doing it. So, because they're like, it's Heartbeat City, right? So people are paying attention. I love that. Um, so yeah, so people are waiting on this one, but and that's what we're here to do tonight. We are here to talk about. I mean, I don't know if we call it a breakthrough, but it was kind of like this big record for this band. The Cars' Heartbeat City was like it just exploded, right? It was like the big. I just remember they were all over MTV, right? That was like the thing. It was like I remember seeing You Might Think, Magic, all the singles were like all over, and they were making these videos that at the time were sort of cutting edge. And I think good for them, and they took advantage of that promotional thing, and the album exploded. And it was also great songs too. It's not just the videos; it's great songs too. So it was the combination of the two really pushed this record just like through the stratosphere. Um, so yeah, so we are here to talk about that record. And before we jump into, we have a lot to talk about here. But before
Oh,
we
yeah.
jump into all of the detail, when do you remember the first time that you heard a single from this or the song, any song from this? Do you remember that? Or
Definitely, you might think on the radio.
radio? Yeah.
Maybe even Casey Kasem's American Top 40 or rock radio, because the single came out, I think, a month before the record. You Might Think was the first single, came out Feb 84. The record came out March 84. So it was definitely You Might Think was the early single pre-album release.
Okay, got it. And were you like digging it when you first heard it? You're like, yeah, this is
Oh,
cool.
it's a great catchy song, but
Yeah.
more on that later.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, exactly. So no, I remember this album just being all over the place at the time, and it was interesting because the Cars were already a pretty big band, and they just kind of went to another level with this album.
Yep.
And yeah, and recorded with they changed producers on this one. We'll get into this, but they changed it, to Mutt Lange, and to me we're going to get into all this, but I'm just going to give you a little bit of a spoiler where it's like for me this album is like I always like struggle a little bit with this record because of the production. It just sometimes I always love the Roy Thomas Baker stuff, so it's hard for me to, I don't know. For me, that was the Cars sound, and then they changed it, and I think they needed to. I think maybe it was a good time to do that. And I'm not saying I'm not, and you can't argue with the results, but and it does sound like there's a new like energy kind of, I don't know, like plugged into the band. Like it feels like a new energy, which is cool. But there's some things about the record that bug me, and we can get into that. But yeah, so that's my intro. I don't really have that much else to say. Because I know you have a lot going on with this one, Davey.
I have a ton of notes because this is such a huge album. And when I get into all the details, if you want to show off your LP, the inner sleeve, and all the artwork, the front
Yes.
cover, I'll be
Yes.
touching on that and open it up and all that.
Yes.
So, this is the Cars' fifth album, fifth studio record, came out March 12th, 1984, recorded over a 7 month period, and they had never worked on a record so long. From July 83 to January of 1984, done at Battery Studios in London, England, which was founded in 1980. It used to be called Morgan Studios before that, and it started up in the early 70s. Once again, Electro Records, hair under 39 minutes. You got 10 tracks and produced, like you said, by the infamous Robert John Mutt Lange. And the band produced it too. So it's
Yes.
all the 5 band members and Mutt doing
Mhm.
the production here. You only get, let's say, 3 songs with Ben Orr vocals. So
Yeah.
it's very Rick Ocasek dominated in the vocal department. And there's one, so he sings 2 songs, Drive, everyone knows that, the huge hit single, and Stranger Eyes, a really good rock, upbeat rock song. And he also sings the bulk of It's Not the Night, but Rick is also credited with vocals on that song.
Right. Yep.
So you got Rick on vocals, guitar, Ben on bass and vocals, Elliot on lead guitar backing vocals, Greg Hawkes on keyboards vocals, Fairlight CMI programming, more on that later, David Robinson on drums and Fairlight programming too.
There it is.
Very interesting here.
Mhm.
Another guy who was germane in making the record, a gentleman named Andy Topeka on Fairlight CMI programming. And I'm sure he's the guy that was showing Greg and David what to do here. Recording engineer was Nigel Green, mixing engineer Mike Shipley. If you read the liner notes, you'll know these names because they got a little more famous in the future. The cover painting itself, if you want to show it off, is
Yep.
by a gentleman named Peter Phillips. The cover design is by David Robinson. The art direction is by, I don't know if it's HSU as a name or HSU as a company. Art direction also by Kathy Henzige. Photography inside, which Tom will show you guys in a minute, is by George Holes and Doris Kloster. And regarding the album cover itself, it's from a piece from 1972 by Peter Phillips, and it's called Artomatic Loop to Loop. So you can see it's this cool, like pop art type cover. It's got images of a 1971 Plymouth Duster 340 on the cover and a pinup model from Alberto Vargas. And we've mentioned his name before because he's done other Cars albums. Most notably, I would say Candio, the cover to that album. So it's
Yeah.
called Automatic Loop to Loop.
That's what I always thought it was when I first saw this cover. I was like, "Oh, it's the girl from Candio. She's just, jumping off the car this time."
I like the album artwork. They always have cool covers.
Yeah.
Even Panorama in its own way is kind of a
Oh, I
cool
love
cover.
Panorama. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So the band released 5 singles from the album. You might think Magic, Drive, Hello Again, Why Can't I Have You? And then internationally, as the 6th single outside of the US, Heartbeat City. So
Yeah.
more than half the album was released as singles. I'm going to try and do some fast chart action
Okay,
because
go
there are
for it.
a lot of charts here. The weekly charts from 84 to 85 in Australia, it hit number 15, Canada number 5, the Dutch charts 41, European charts 33, Germany 15, Japan number 22, New Zealand number 1, look out.
Wow.
Sweden 26, Switzerland 20, the UK 25, US number 3. So it's huge in the
Okay.
US, and the
Yep.
US rock chart number 1. Some quick year-end charts from 84, Australia 29, Canada 12, New Zealand 5, US number 12. Year-end for 85, because this album had legs, more on that later. Canada 69, New Zealand 16, and the US number 49. For certifications, New Zealand, it went platinum, 15,000 albums sold in New Zealand. UK was a gold record, over 100,000 records sold. In the US, it's not even their biggest album, sales wise, 4 times platinum. So that's over 4 million copies
Wow.
sold. And I'm sure
Wow.
it's even more than that. Now, the debut was 6 million plus, but that album has sold over a very long period of time. But this was huge in the moment.
Yeah.
Recently, I've been watching a lot on YouTube Billy Corgan's new podcast called The Magnificent Others. And Smashing Pumpkins, his band, had an album called Zeitgeist, and he uses that word a lot on his podcast. This is when the Cars hit the zeitgeist. Like you said, Tom,
Mhm.
MTV was huge in 1984. They started having the MTV Video Music Awards. Madonna was winning awards left and right. And the Cars, for the You Might Think video, they won like a Video Vanguard Award, Best Video of the Year, and everyone was raving about the video for You Might Think. It was one of the first to use computer graphics, and
Right.
that set them apart. And 41 years ago, I'm sure you remember watching. I mean, I didn't have MTV till a few years later, which I mentioned a lot on YouTube. But Friday Night Videos, once it was done with its MTV exclusivity, this was shown on Friday Night Videos all the time. Casey Kasem was showing it on his countdown shows. It was all over, and it was the coolest video when you're a little kid, when you're a teenager or
Mhm.
a younger kid, saying, "Whoa, look at all these cool effects."
Yeah, it
But
was.
now we look back on it, it's very dated. But
Yeah.
at the time, it was very unique and groundbreaking, and the Cars were right there. They had the airplay on the FM stations, the new wave stations, the college stations, and now also AM radio with You Might Think and Drive, especially those two songs were big on top 40 radio. They had the dance club charts with Hello Again, more on that later. So they were all over the place, like you said. And this was their big zeitgeist moment, and they never topped it after this. But we'll
Right.
talk about that in our next episode.
More to come on that. Yeah.
Yes, moving on to page 2 of my notes. All tracks are written here by Rick, except track 7, It's Not the Night. It's a co-write with Greg Hawkes, which happens sort of every other album back in the Cars history. As you said, the first album not produced by Roy Thomas Baker, produced by Mutt. Now, here's the reason. I loved this album as a kid. I saw them on tour, more on that in a moment. But the whole thing is the way this was recorded, mid 80s, you got all the mid 80s production tropes coming in that we talk about on this channel, on Grant's channel, a lot of channels,
Right.
where we say the 80s production sort of ruined a lot of things. And it maybe not ruined is a bad word. Let me scratch that from the record, delete that from the record. It dates it. That's what it
It
does.
dates
It
it. Yeah.
dates it to a
Yeah.
certain period. You hear sounds,
Yeah.
oh, that's 80s.
Yeah. Stamps
And
at
to me,
1984. Yeah. Yep.
and I think Mutt was using sort of a lot of production devices that Trevor Horn used on Yes's 90125. That was such a big album,
Right.
especially in Hello Again. You get those keyboard stabs, and you're like,
Yes.
that sounds like Yes, Owner of a Lonely Heart.
Yes. Yes.
So the whole thing is the way this album was recorded, and Tom and I were discussing this beforehand. And why don't you say what you said to me, because it says it better than I could.
I'm trying to remember what
The
we were.
back, the
Oh,
backwards.
oh, that we recording it backwards almost, like doing these Lindrum tracks before you record anything else or whatever they were, the programmed drums. Like he was Mutt was programming drums with David before anything else even happened. So I
Yep.
just thought it was kind of an odd way to record, you know?
Because a lot of bands lay down the drum track first, then the bass, then maybe
Mhm.
the vocals or the guitars and the keyboards. They do the vocals last, the backing vocals or the overdubs last. But
Right,
this is just weird because according to what I read and what I found out about it, like you said, the keyboards, guitars, and vocals were recorded first. So you have no rhythm bed
right,
underneath it, which is unusual. And it was recorded to a Lindrum click track.
right,
Then the bass and drums were added. And David Robinson, the drummer, said all the drums and keys were sampled into and or played or programmed via the Fairlight CMI. And David Robinson said, and I'm going to quote him, he felt it gave the album, quote, a much better, cleaner, more controllable sound, end quote. But to me, it dates it to this period.
right,
And
right.
Elliot Easton might be a little absent on this record. He's not as present as the 4 previous records.
No,
The
he's not.
guitars
Not.
are sort of lower in the mix. They're muted. They're a lot more rhythm than lead guitars.
Right.
And this is a Greg Hawkes album.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I'm a huge Greg Hawkes fan. I love keyboards. My favorite band, Yes, is all about the keyboards. And
Right.
back in the day, my 3 favorite bands were the Cars, Styx and Billy Joel were probably my first three favorite bands, but then I grew into such a Yes fan, and some of the other bands fell by the wayside when I discovered prog, just like you're a huge Genesis fan.
Exactly, exactly.
Now, in '85, the band played Live Aid and they did a four-song set. Three of the songs came from Heartbeat City. They did You Might Think, Drive, Heartbeat City, and then the one classic song they did, their biggest, arguably one of their biggest songs, Just What I Needed. So that was their four-song set. That was July 13th, 1985. And I remember I was working at the video record store that day, and I had my mother taping Live Aid from Fox 5 with all the commercials onto a videotape
Yes,
because I
yes,
didn't, I didn't have MTV back then. So I
right.
couldn't watch it commercial free or however they did the commercials back then. Now, Mutt Lange was supposed to produce Def Leppard's next album at the time, but because of Rick Allen's car accident, they ended up taking longer to get ready, with Rick learning how to play the drums with his feet, missing his arm, unfortunately. So at first, Mutt told the Def Leppard, I can't do your next album. I'm going to be busy with the Cars because, like I said, 7 months is an eternity
Yeah,
at the time for a band to be in the studio. But because it took so long, and by the time Rick got his whole drum kit figured out, he was able to produce Hysteria, which, looking back on it, is not a good thing because that record is even more overproduced than this record, which I think is overproduced on a lot of the darn songs.
exactly, exactly.
Now, before we get into the individual tracks, I just want to say one thing. This is the tour that I saw the Cars on in 1984. They toured Heartbeat City all over the world. I saw them. I know it was the Nassau Coliseum. I remember Nick Lowe specifically opening, yet I can't find a record of this show online. And I know it wasn't any other tour. Now, it was the Nassau Coliseum. I was all the way up in the 300 section, really high. And because they have the sound system sort of in the middle, or at least speakers in the middle pointing to 4 to 8, whatever, 12 ways. There was a speaker column right in my way of seeing Greg Hawkes. So I'm watching the band from really high up. They look so tiny. It's like looking out the window of an airplane where
Right.
everything looks so tiny. Couldn't see the keyboard player, and I love Greg Hawkes. And they had no stage presence, Tom. They just stood there and played the songs and played the instruments. Maybe Ben or Rick would say thank you
Thank
or
you.
hello
Yeah,
at the beginning,
that's it.
maybe,
Yeah,
but like no stage presence. And I was used to bands talking to the audience. I had seen Billy Joel by this point. Yes, John Anderson even spoke to the crowd. Styx. Of course, Dennis DeYoung was using the same stage banter over and over. But
right.
these bands had personality and they spoke to the crowd. And
Yeah,
here, the Cars, that I was thinking at the time, I could have stayed home and listened to my records. So I
yeah,
was high in the nosebleeds. I was disappointed. They sounded good. They
right,
played
right,
really well.
right.
And the whole thing is, I can't find the exact set because I can't find a record of the show, but they either did 6 or 7 songs from Heartbeat City. They only did two from Shake It Up, the previous record on this tour, one from Panorama, of course, Touch and Go,
Right,
one from Candio,
right.
and 4 from the debut. And a lot of the dates on the Heartbeat City tour, they were playing Jimmy Jimmy from Rick Ocasek's solo album, which is odd, but I mean, it's Rick's band, as Elliot always says, it's
His
Rick's
band.
band.
That's right.
So
Yeah,
he said, okay, we're going to play a solo song and promote my solo album. So
yeah.
that takes away from a car song, too. I don't remember if they played Jimmy Jimmy at my show because it's 41 years ago now. It was good, but it's just one of my least favorite shows overall because of the fact that they didn't have big stage presence. And guys, don't bash me in the comments because I love the Cars, I love their albums, but live it was just very different to the shows I had seen prior to that.
No,
Nick Lowe, he had stage presence. He was talking to the crowd. And I was like, oh, I know that song. That's I Knew the Bride. I heard that on the radio. That's the sound of breaking glass. I knew that song. I think he did a Rock Pile song too, maybe Little Sister from back in the day.
right.
So I knew a bunch of songs. I'm like, I know this guy.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, and to your, the Cars had a reputation for this, right? They were, you're not the only person to say this about them live, that they were known, people thought they were kind of icy because they wouldn't really speak to the audience. and they were kind of standoffish, and they would just kind of stand there and, like you said, once in a while say thank you, and that's about it. And then they would start the next song, and you're like, geez, like, could you at least like have some kind of banter of some kind? And Ben was always a quiet guy, and Rick, I think Rick, like you said, it's Rick's band, and Rick was the person who was like, we're not going to do these stupid live tropes of, hey, how's it going, Cleveland? How are you? This is the best crowd we've ever seen. He thought it was kind of cheesy to do all that stuff, so he told everybody in the band, like, we're just going to be quiet and we're just going to play the songs. And it's like, okay, you can do that's one way to go, but it's kind of like it comes off a little weird, you know?
And that's what draws the crowd in.
Right,
Hello, New
right.
York.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah, exactly. It's like that's just a thing. That's why people do it, because people get excited and, yeah, we're New York, yeah. And also, what was I gonna say? It's also interesting that they only did like a 3-month tour, I think. I mean, considering like this album was
No,
like,
I
wasn't it?
think it was the full year, but they toured overseas too.
Oh, did they? Okay, okay. Maybe North America was only 3 months, something like that. You just think they would have gone like crazy with this record, like, but I guess something about Ben had like he had this sort of fear of flying that kind of started happening or something, and that there was a lot of different excuses. But I'm thinking they should have just like gone to the bank with this album, because this was just so huge that it's like you said, it was selling like hotcakes, like just hit
Yep.
the road and just keep going. But they didn't decide not to do that. So.
Well, I think another reason is because Rick loves the studio more than playing live. He'd rather
Yes.
just make a record, be in the studio,
Yep.
or write the songs, record them in the studio, and put them out. And that's
Yes.
his love, the studio. There are certain guys that just don't like to tour as much.
No, you're
Even
right.
with the aforementioned Styx, Dennis DeYoung
Yep.
would rather be at home with his family than on the road playing shows, and that's what caused friction in Styx. But
Right.
here it's Rick's band, and the band did whatever Rick said because
Rick
Rick
makes the
wrote
call. Yep.
99% of the songs.
Yeah, Rick makes the call on everything. I mean, again, what really, I mean to get you off track, but we were talking about this before we started recording, and that is this book just came out on the Cars, by Bill Janovitz, who's an awesome, he was in Buffalo Tom, and he's now an author, and he's written a bunch of books that I've read by him, and he's great. And he did this book on the Cars, and I've been listening to it on Audible, and he talks about how, like, it was Rick's band. Rick made the decisions. Rick made the calls, and more, even by Heartbeat City, it was getting even more like it was Rick's band, and he was whatever he wanted, whatever he said went, and it's like you said, he wrote the song, so he's the guy. He is the guy. So and Elliot Roberts, who was their manager, was kept basically. Who's the leader? Oh, it's Rick. Okay, Rick, what do you want to do, Rick? And he would just always talk to Rick and nobody else.
It
And so,
defers
yeah,
to the leader.
yes, exactly.
He
And
had
so
all the
that's the point.
power,
Yeah. Hmm.
or
Yeah.
in Seinfeld terms, he had all the hand, and you're
Yes.
going to need it. But
Yes.
that's the
Exactly.
way things go in rock. I mean, you know it. You're in a couple of bands,
Yeah. Yeah. I
and
mean,
there's friction, and people disagree, and things change, and members change. So,
yep. Yep. And this band stayed together, but there was a lot of like friction that started to happen around this time. Like you said, you mentioned it. And I don't mean to like jump ahead, but on this record, you had mentioned it already, that, Elliot Easton is not like, there's not a lot of Elliot Easton on this record. There's less of him on the next record. So it's like his influence was starting to. I think there's less of him on the next record, but it's just not. Those big solos that he does aren't happening as much anymore. You know what I mean? Or if they are happening, they're very small, like quick, and then he's out. There's no like long solos anymore. I don't
well, I
know.
say there are on Door to Door. It's the record they made years later, the comeback record without
Oh,
Ben. That's the one without the guitar
okay.
solos. But I do have something to say about that when we get to that episode. Now, besides the book, do you know the name of the book that just came out, Tom?
Oh, geez. I can tell you. Hold on a second. I can tell
Okay,
you.
well, while Tom's looking
Go
that
ahead.
up,
Go ahead.
there also what just came out, by the time this airs, it comes out a few days from when we're taping it. But Rhino Records, of course, they're related to Elektra under the Warner Brothers umbrella. They're releasing a deluxe 4 CD box set of Heartbeat City, remastered sound, unreleased bonus tracks, B-sides. We're going to talk about some of them, but there are even more on this box set that just came out. But we didn't want to delay the show anymore and get the box set and then wait a month to tape it. So we
Right.
just stuck with our original date that Tom and I had made before the box set came out. It's just unfortunate timing that we can't go into even more details about this record because
Yeah,
it's such a huge album in the Cars history. Did you
absolutely.
get the name of the
Yeah,
book?
yeah, the book is called Let the Stories Be Told, which it's right there. So let the stories be told. Yeah, so there you go. Let
Yep.
them say what they want.
From
Um,
Good Times Roll from the first
that's
album.
exactly right. So yeah, and it's very good. So I recommend it if you're a I mean, if you're a Cars fan, you're gonna devour it like I'm doing right now.
So we're letting all the Cars fans know out there. You got the new book by Bill Janovitz with a J, right?
Yep,
Janovitz with a
yep.
J.
Mhm.
So you've got a new book. You've got the 4 CD box set remastered with bonus tracks galore. It also has a live show from
Yeah,
the Heartbeat City Tour, Houston, Texas, 1984. So there's a lot of news on in the Cars world for
yeah, a lot of
everyone.
Cars stuff happening right now. Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
unfortunate that we won't get any more records because now with Ben gone and Rick gone,
no,
no new music, but they got these deluxe remasters. Hopefully there'll be more on the horizon. You've got the book. So
yeah,
everyone check that out. I
yeah.
think we should go into the song
Go for it. Go
breakdowns
for it.
now of the individual
Hello.
songs. We're going to start out with track number one. It's called Hello Again, 3 minutes, 46 seconds. This was the fourth single from the record, released in October of 84. Here's some fast chart action for the single. US, it hit the top 20 at number 20. The rock charts, mainstream rock charts, 22. Australia, 52. Canada, 42. France, it hit number 4. Hello again. Wow, really high.
Wow.
Germany, 27. New Zealand, number 12. Now, right from the get go, when you put the needle down on the vinyl, something is definitely very different here. As I mentioned earlier, what I have in my notes, it's very synthesized. It's very 80s sounding, and it has those Yes, Owner of a Lonely Heart keyboard stabs and squeals throughout the song. So you know it's the mid 80s from the sound of it. It dates it, like we were saying before. This is a feast, this song and the whole album, for Greg Hawkes keyboard fans, and Elliot Easton is somewhat restrained. You hear some cool power chords throughout the song here and there, but to me, it's all about Greg Hawkes keyboards. Hawkes has a nice keyboard solo here, no guitar solo. So that's probably Rick saying, this is a keyboard song. We're going to have a keyboard solo here. The video for this song, like Tom was saying about all the videos that came out from this album, about 5 videos for every single, I think, except Heartbeat City, directed by the great Andy Warhol, pop artist.
Yes, that's right.
And you could tell he's in the video. You see his bright white hair. He even makes a cameo in the video. So
Mhm.
it's a cool video. It's worth checking out. Hello Again is good, but it's almost too of its time. I don't think it's dated as well. I loved it back in the day. It's just not in my top tier list of Cars songs now. What do you think about Hello Again?
Yeah, you nailed it. I feel exactly the same way. It's like I do think it's kind of hooky. And but that whole like, and one thing that kind of always gets me is when hello, hello. It's like, oh my God, it sounds just like Def Leppard. You're like, oh my God, is this a Def Leppard album? Like, what's happening?
That's
Um,
Mutt. That's Mutt's
yeah,
production.
total Mutt Lang, and then like you said, very heavy keyboard. So like I kind of like you said, I'm like, where's Elliot on this? There's no Elliot at all. Like I hear barely, like you said, you barely hear guitar on this song. It's very keyboard dominated. So
Yeah,
that kind
during the verses, it's bang, bang. He's doing like power
of,
chords.
right, right,
Sort of
right.
like almost like Trevor Rabin on Owner of a Lonely Heart. Bow, now, 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 now.
Yes,
It's just that
yes,
modern guitar sound, but it's not the lead instrument. He's definitely taking a back seat to the keyboards.
yes,
So then we're going
exactly.
to move on to track
Go ahead.
number two. And this is a deep track, even though it's track number two. Song called Looking for Love, 3 minutes, 52 seconds. Oddly enough, this was covered by the Austrian artist Falco. Everyone remembers Falco, Der
Yes.
Kommissar, and Rock Me Amadeus. It was covered on his 1985 album. Falco 3 is the name of the album, but the song was called Munich Girls instead of Looking for Love.
Oh,
So he
all right.
changed the title. I'm sure he changed the lyrics. Now, I like this better than Hello Again. It's less produced. It has an Elliot Easton guitar solo in it. It has more guitars overall, and you still get those nice Greg Hawkes keyboards that I like. And when I was listening to it earlier and making my notes, my girlfriend Tia, who's been on a bunch of videos on my channel, Cretin Classics with me, she said, "Oh, I like the keyboards." Because he has this very cool keyboard line during the verses, during the chorus. So it's very catchy, Looking for Love, and I'm surprised it wasn't a single. Nice backing vocals on this song as well. So I like track 2 more than track 1. Looking for Love, I recommend because it wasn't a single. It's not a popular song from the album. What are your thoughts on Looking for Love?
Wow, we're on the same page here. I feel like yes, I like Looking for Love a lot better than Hello Again. I don't know what it is. It's just it's kind of an elegant pop song, and like you said, you can hear the guitars more. And I love that, just that you said, the backing vocals in that chorus, that looking for love, and it kind of sticks in your head, and it's, I don't know, there's something about it. I like it a lot. I think it's a good, like you said, a great deep track from this album.
Which is funny to say track number 2 is a deep track.
Right,
But for
right.
people who didn't buy the album, who just saw the videos, heard the singles, maybe bought the 45s back in the day, maybe even on cassette singles,
Yes,
from back
yes.
then. But yeah, we both recommend Looking for Love.
Yeah, good one. I like it.
Excellent. Moving on to track number 3, and I have like 6 pages of notes here. So let me get back to my notes. Track 3 was a single. The song Magic, A Hair Under 4 Minutes. The second single came out May of '84. The US had hit number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 singles, number 1 on the rock chart, number 96 in Australia, where we have Buddies. Our buddies Bicycle Legs from Bicycle Legs Talks Music,
Yes.
Peter Kerr from Rock Daydream Nation. I also have a friend named Peter Kent. He has his own channel in Australia called The Lizard King. He has
Nice.
some cool content. Check him out. So 96 in Australia. Canada, where we also have buddies, number 14. The great Martin Popoff is up there in Canada. Tim Derling, our friend, who just put out a Fleetwood Mac book we recommend you check out if you're a Fleetwood Mac fan. He's in Canada. France, number 10. New Zealand, 50. Now, this has the famous video where Rick Ocasek sings lead on this one. He's walking on water at an outdoor pool party. And to me, this is all Adam's apple because Rick Ocasek had that big Adam's apple
Yeah.
back in the
Yeah.
day that always stands out on him. And it was like you could even see it in the video. There's like special plexiglass sheets underneath the water. So, of
Yeah.
course, he's not really walking on the water. He's walking on these translucent, I guess the word might be, sheets
Yeah.
underneath the water. But
Yep.
it's a cool video and everyone's looking at him and pointing. How's this guy when he's singing the song and the band are on the side playing? It's a
Yep.
cool video. It hasn't dated too poorly, I don't think.
Right.
You get another really good song here with some strutting guitars on this song from Rick Ocasek and Elliot. It's simple riffs, simple guitar riffs, but I think they're very effective. And Greg Hawkes' keyboards are a tad more ornamental here.
Right.
It's sort of like the old days where it's more about the vocals and the melody and the guitar than it is about the keyboards to me. It's more of a guitar rocker, this song, and I think that's why it did so well and hit number 1 on the rock chart. More great backing vocals here, and Elliot Easton has some cool guitar work on verse 2, and then he peels off an awesome guitar solo in this song. So I like Magic. I think it's dated well. I like it, so the song. It's catchy. It's a good pop rock song, I would say.
I give Magic a thumbs up. It's a great single. I mean, it's so catchy. I mean, that chorus is like undeniable. And like you said, there's just this thing of like the lead vocal, the backing vocals, the guitar, there's so many hooks in it, like, uh-oh, it's magic. Ew. There's all these things going on
Yep.
that, oh, there's another hook, there's another hook. So I think Magic is an excellent single. Love it.
Excellent to hear. Then we move on to possibly the biggest song from the record, Drive, a little under 4 minutes. This was actually the third single, and you get Ben Orr singing lead for the first time on the record on track 4. As the third single, it came out July 84. The US it hit number three on the rock chart, which I was surprised to see that rock radio was playing this song in Australia number 10, Canada 6, France number 9, Germany number 4, the Netherlands, the Dutch charts, number 12. New Zealand, number 5, big song there. Sweden, 15. The UK, number 4. And it was certified as a gold single in the UK. For an American band to have a gold single from the BPI certification in England was really big at the time. It also, a little more, some extra chart action I found. Number 1 on the US adult contemporary charts. It was released when first it came out in Ireland, it hit number 3. They re-released it in 85 and it went to number 5 the second time they released it. So it's also big in Ireland. Now, this song itself is very synthesized. It's eerie, it's haunting, it's one of their biggest hits ever, especially worldwide. I think it's overplayed overall after 41 years now. It's still a good song. My favorite part about it is probably the backing vocals. Now, the video here, you mentioned his name before. The Cars manager, Elliot Roberts, his next door neighbor was a famous actor everyone might remember named Timothy Hutton. Tim Hutton, most well known probably for the movie Ordinary People, really good movie from back in I think 1980 that movie came
Yeah.
out, 80, 81 or so. So they were neighbors, and Elliot played Timothy Hutton an early version of the whole album, like the demo versions. And Timothy Hutton was really taken by the song Drive. And
Mhm.
he was trying to direct and get into directing besides acting. He said, I'd really like to direct the video for that. So Timothy Hutton directed the video for Drive. And famously, a 19-year-old Paulina Porizkova
Mhm.
was the star of the video. And Rick Ocasek is in the video with her, and they're reacting to each other. And he's upsetting her. She's crying. She's laughing. It's a really good performance by her in the video.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
eventually, she became Rick Ocasek's third wife. And
Yes.
in the world of rock and roll and famous people, their marriage lasted a really long time. And everyone was, I remember being surprised in the 2000s when they're getting a divorce. They've
Yeah.
been married for over 30 years and together as a couple for a long time.
Right.
And they got divorced. And then unfortunately, Rick passed away and she was crushed when he passed.
Yeah.
They were still friendly after they got divorced because they raised 2 sons together.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
that's the reason the Cars got back together, but more on that in a future show.
Mhm.
So the video is very well known, played a lot, all over the world. So this is a huge song, but it's very keyboard dominant. Elliot Easton's guitars, they're used to a haunting effect, and it's not like lead rock and roll guitar. It's a good ballad, but I think the fact that it's overplayed, it's not one of my personal favorites from the record. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I love Drive. It's there's something about it. Yeah, it's a little overplayed. I agree with you. It kind of got a little overplayed, but there's something very unique about, and like you said something about how there's not a lot of Ben Orr vocals on this record, but when he does step up to the mic, it's like on Drive, it's like, oh my God, he just knocks it out of the park. I mean, the vocal is on this is so emotional and so perfect. And like you said, it's got sort of those like 10cc not in love backing vocals, the kind of and it's kind of got those going on. And I love the sort of like do do like that rhythm that goes through the whole song, and it's kind of open, and it's kind of different. It's very different for the Cars. It's sort of a different song for them. And I remember thinking, like, when I heard it, I was like, wow, this is like a definitely a left turn for the Cars, and I kind of like it. Um but yeah, so I really like Drive. I think it's a cool song. So yeah, there you go.
You know what word when you were speaking about it, the word that struck me, sparse. It's a
Yeah.
little sparse.
Hmm. Which is different
And
for them. Yeah.
Yep, and it's known for the Ben Orr vocal. It's just not my personal favorite Ben Orr vocal on the record. More on that later.
More to come. Yep. Yep.
So we're going to move on to track 5, which is another Ben Orr vocal.
Yeah.
Song called Stranger Eyes, almost 4.5 minutes long. It starts out like most of the other songs on this record, very synthetic, very synthesized, and then it turns into a rocker with an excellent Ben Orr vocal on the song. And it's almost a perfect amalgamation I have in my notes of guitars, Greg Hawk's keyboards, and Mutt's production. Elliot Easton even gets a brief guitar solo here. Now, oddly enough, this song was used in the theatrical trailer for the huge movie Top Gun, yet it's not on the soundtrack.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, very, very interesting. I like Stranger Eyes. I think I may have recalled hearing this on rock radio, but it didn't seem to chart on the mainstream rock chart. But it's a good rocker and it's a good deep track that I recommend people check out. I like this song. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's grown on me. I remember thinking, "Oh, I don't really like Stranger's Eyes that much," but you know what? When I was listening to it for this, like reacquainting myself with this record, I was like, "Oh yeah, I do kind of like this song. Like it's kind of cool. Like it's got that whole, come on and ride me high, stranger."
And you get
Yeah,
the guitar.
and it keeps going on and going and going in a loop, and it kind of gets you, kind of hooks you a little bit at the end. So I do like it. I do think it's a good, like you said, it's a good deep track. I enjoy it. Yeah, and then,
Excellent.
like you said, a good Ben Orr vocal, another good, great. I mean, Ben Orr's vocals are always good. What am I saying? They're always good.
Yeah. He had such a velvety smooth voice. I love
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Now we move on to track number 6, the first song on side 2 of Tom's vinyl record there.
Mhm. Yeah.
A tad over 3 minutes long, you get You Might Think, or as I once heard Casey Kasem introduce it on his Top 40 show, there's the Cars with You Might Think.
Yes.
It just
Yes.
always stuck in my head. He didn't say you might think, he said you might
Yep.
think in that great Casey Kasem voice. First single came out a month before the record, like I said before, Feb 84, US number 7. So you got a top 10 single in the States. Rock chart number 1. Australia number 24, Canada 8, the Netherlands 49, New Zealand 27. So all these singles are charting in New Zealand and Australia, which is very cool for the Cars. Sweden number 20 and the UK a lowly 88. At the
Mm.
time, like I said, it was a groundbreaking special effects video, one of the first to use computer graphics, and it won a zillion awards back in the day. To me, the song itself is a perfect pop rock nugget with tons of hooks all over, and it's got that great sing along chorus. Greg Hawkes makes his presence known, but he doesn't overwhelm on this song. You get a stunning Elliot Easton guitar solo here. Great middle 8 where it mellows out and then it comes back in with some cool Greg Hawkes keyboard flourishes. You get those quirky lyrics, of course, from the great Rick Ocasek, the late great Rick Ocasek. And I think there might be some bass synthesizer. Say that 3 times fast. I could barely get it out once. Bass synth in the verses. Bum 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 bum. That's what it sounds like to
Yeah,
me.
I think
That
you're
it could
right.
be some bass synth, or maybe Ben Orr's playing some kind of bass in the way it's processed. It just
Yes.
sounds like a keyboard bass. But I
Yeah.
think even though it was played so much and the video was all over, I really like You Might Think. I think it's a gem. It's a great one of their best pop rock songs, their best singles, in my opinion. What do you think about it?
Yeah, pretty undeniable. Agreed. I mean, this, I will say, you were saying you kind of got burned out on Drive. I kind of got burned out on You Might Think a little bit. So I would say maybe just from overplay, that might be a little bit like, I don't really need to hear You Might Think. But it's a good. I mean, it's a very hooky, like you said, very hooky pop song. And that's the one thing about Mutt Lang, man. He makes sure that there's like a million hooks in every song, and and in this track, I think he probably heard Rick's demo, was like, oh yeah, we're gonna crank, we're really gonna like do this one up, and they do it perfectly. I mean, it's a very well done, well recorded, and well arranged song. I just think it's very, very well done. Yep.
Nice. The arrangement. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
about the arrangement. Very good point. Moving on to track number 7, second song on side 2, 3 minutes 49 seconds, 3:49. While this was not officially released as a single, it did manage to hit number 31 on the Billboard Mainstream Rock Chart.
All right.
Perhaps my favorite song on the record, It's Not the Night. This was the one that's co-written by Greg Hawkes, by the way.
Yep.
It starts out very 80s sounding, and then you get the Ben Orr vocal, and this is my favorite vocal performance on the album by Ben. And you get Rick coming in at the end of the verse number 1. I didn't even realize that it's Ben singing and Rick singing on this song. And
Mhm.
then the guitars kick in and the whole band shines on the song. Exquisite backing vocals I wrote down in my notes. Another sterling Elliot Easton guitar solo, but when aren't they amazing?
Right.
You get Greg's unique keyboard sounds, and they all make this a Dave fave, as I put it in my notes. My favorite Ben Orr vocal on the album. And I love the way it comes full circle, going back to those Greg Hawkes keyboards and the production sounds. Like it ends just like it started. So I highly recommend, for a really deep track, if you don't know it, checking out It's Not the Night.
Yes.
Opinions, Bones.
This was another kind of rediscovery song for me as well, for getting ready for that. I was like, oh yeah, man, you're right. That Ben Orr vocal, oh, it's just like chef's kiss. He really does it perfectly, and you're right. It's kind of a great ensemble song for them on this record. It kind of feels more like an ensemble type song, like you said, with the Ben and Rick singing. And it's a cool. I like it. Solid deep track. Really like it. Yeah. Discover.
Excellent.
Yep.
Moving on to track number 8, 4 minutes long, the fifth single from the record. It came out January 85. So this is basically 9 months, 10 months after the record came out. The fifth single came out. And there
Yeah.
was so many albums like this back in the day. You had Thriller,
Thriller.
where
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
every song was a single. You had Hysteria later on, produced by Mutt Lange. Born in the USA had, I think, 6 singles or 7 singles out of the 14 songs, and Bruce had unreleased B-sides all over the place. You had Prince with Purple Rain with
Yeah.
multiple singles from the album. Tina Turner with Private Dancer.
Now,
This Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms,
yeah.
and basically every Madonna record. And the whole thing was, you made songs for sort of different radio stations, different airplay, like they did with Hello Again, where they put it out as a dance remix just to
Right.
get the club play on it.
Yeah.
Here
Now,
you have another ballad.
really quick, Davey, before you
Yeah,
keep going. So, did Thriller start that trend of like multiple singles? Because that was the first
it's
record I remember that had like 5 or 6 songs come off the album. Like it was crazy,
probably, that's a good question.
you
That's a
know.
great
And then
trivia
everyone just
question.
repeated that formula of like, okay, let's do 5 or 6 songs off the record. You know what I mean?
Because back in the 70s, it was 1, 2, maybe
One
3
or
singles.
two.
But
Yeah,
to
exactly.
have 5 or 6 singles was just until the 80s, until Thriller,
Full
where it was
Thriller.
such a
Yeah.
huge album. The rock stations were playing it, the the top 40, the R&B, the
Mhm.
disco, the club. It was on like every radio station. There was a song, a different song, maybe some of the same from Thriller, all over the radio.
Yeah.
So if you just played it today, everyone would know almost every song because the whole album is just made of singles.
Yeah, like half the
So
record. I've already heard half the album. Yeah. Yep.
precise, and with Thriller, way I think 7 out of 9 songs were
Yeah,
singles.
something like that. Yeah.
Amazing. So you got Why Can't I Have You? It's a ballad, fifth single, January 85, US number 33. So by this time, they may have been a little fatigued with the cars setting in, possibly.
Yeah.
Rock radio, the rock stations, number 11 on the mainstream rock chart, and it barely made a dent in Canada at number 90. Slow moving ballad, you get Rick's vocal. To me, it's a tad languid, and it just languishes in this slow gear. And it's more of a showcase for Mutt's production than anything, and maybe Greg's keyboards and Rick's vocal. But there's an early version I'm going to talk about in the bonus tracks in a few minutes that I'll have more to say on. So this is definitely Not one of my favorite tracks. In fact, it might be my least favorite out of the 10 on the record. It's not bad, but it gets stuck in one gear. It doesn't go anywhere to me.
Yeah, man, you and I are on the same page on this record. I'm the same way on this one. I kind of have an about it. Like, nah, it's okay. It's average for them. And it's like you said, if they're gonna do something like this, to me, Drive was like very successful. This one, not so much. And because like you said, the single didn't do that well. Maybe it's because the song wasn't as strong, in my opinion. So I'm with you on this one. This one's okay. Yeah,
Yeah, if I rank the songs on the record, this would probably come in at number 10 for me.
yeah, yeah.
Nine. Yeah, I think I like Hello Again better. I put
Right.
probably Why Can't I Have You at 10 and maybe Hello Again at 9.
Yep.
Moving on to the last track on the album proper, the title track, Heartbeat City, 4.5 minutes.
Oh, wait a
Now,
minute. What
over
about I Refuse?
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped I Refuse. You're
Yeah,
right. My
yeah.
mistake. Even the great ones make mistakes, people. You're right. I Refuse, track number 9. I'm rushing this along. It's a little over 3 minutes. To me, it's another gem of a track. It's not overplayed like most of the singles here, and I find it refreshing. Definitely more new wave than rock. This definitely sort of is a throwback to the late 70s, early 80s, because it has a lot of new wave sounds in it. And it gives great Greg, I have in my notes. Great
Right,
keyboards by
right.
Greg Hawkes throughout. He's all over the place, but you do get some guitars, more cool backing vocals. That's the band that at Mutt Lange's behest, and you get a very quirky Rick Ocasek lead vocal. The short solo in the middle, it's basically Greg and Elliot together, but it's more Greg's weird keyboard sounds with Elliot Easton's guitar sort of snaking around it. And I'll have more to say that when we get to the early version in a few minutes. So I'd say this is more of a Greg Hawkes song, but it's extremely catchy, and I always like this song, so I like I Do Refuse. I recommend I Refuse for those who have not heard it.
Okay. All right, this we're differing on this one then, because I'm not that excited about I Refuse. It's okay. It's another one that's kind of like Why Can't I Have You? It's sort of like it's okay. And like you said, it's more like they're trying hard to be like new wave or something. I don't know what they're doing on this one. And it's really keyboard. I mean, it's okay. It's all right.
To me, it's upbeat and it moves along better. It has a faster pace than
Right.
Why Can't I Have You? So that's why I like this one.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
it's good that we disagree.
Yeah, this one doesn't hit me as much. So I don't know. Those two in a row like that right there that are kind of like eh. So there you go for me. Just my opinion.
Moving on, track 10, the last song, 4.5 minutes, and outside the US, September of 1985. So this is a year and a half after the record came out. This was the sixth single pulled from the record overseas outside of the US. Australia, number 75, UK, number 78. So it didn't do that well. Now, my first pressing of the vinyl, and you could check it on yours, figure out what pressing you have on it was either the inner sleeve, instead of saying Heartbeat City, it says Jackie, or on the
Oh,
actual
yes.
vinyl label.
Yeah, mine says Heartbeat City, so we're good.
Okay, what about on the
Uh,
record
oh, on the
label
actual
itself?
label. Oh, that's a good question.
Let's see
Uh,
that one.
let's check that out.
Because I bought this record on vinyl when it first
Oh,
came
it
out, and
says
mine
Heartbeat
said
City
Jack.
on it. Yep.
Okay, so you have a later pressing
We have
on the
later.
vinyl
Yep.
then.
Yep.
That looks nice and clean to me. Good
Yeah,
pressing.
yeah, it's nice and yeah, absolutely.
But mine was spelled Jackie, Jacki.
Right. Right.
I dig Rick's vocal on this song, Greg's keyboards, and Ben's bass line. I like the bass
Yeah.
line
Yeah.
throughout this song. It's very catchy. The whole song overall, it's very ethereal, it's haunting, it's chiming, yet to me, it remains a very charming song. Another song with great backing vocals here. Definitely, to me, it's more of a studio production, yet they played it at Live Aid,
Yeah.
probably for the international audience, because that was the summer of July. Live Aid was July 85, and then this came out as a single in September. So they were trying to, overseas, Elektra was trying to capitalize on the fact that it was played at the worldwide event, Live Aid. To me, there's lots of ear candy on the song, and I think it's a good way to end the record. I like the title track a lot. I think it ends the album in a strong manner.
I'm with you. Love this track. Really into it. You're right. You use some great adjectives. Ethereal. Again, it's got those really cool, thick, creamy backing vocals going on the whole time. And Rick does a pretty really compelling lead vocal on it too. And I just love it. I just think, and I love that synth, like whatever. It's almost like a synth. That line that just repeats over and over again. It's kind of like a loop, but it works really well. Like I love it. I think it's a really cool track. Great way to end the album.
Precisely, we agree there. So there's
Yep.
really only one song well, two songs, because I'm sort of tired of Drive while you love it. So
Right.
those
Right.
are our differences, Drive and I Refuse.
Yes. Yep.
Now, there are a bunch, and remember, we said the box set's coming out with even more bonus tracks, but the bonus tracks that are out, available as of the taping of this towards the end of October here. There is a remix of Hello Again. It's almost 6 minutes long, and it just has all those 80s production tropes where they extend it and they repeat stuff, and there are those jarring sound effects. All of a
Yes.
sudden there's a telephone ringing in it, and it sort of sounds almost like a Prince remix of Little Red Corvette or something. One of the songs from 1999, I said that sounds just like one of the songs from 1999.
Seems like a
So I
good
think
idea at the
it's
time, kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, it's made for the club charts. It's, to me, the remix is saturated and drenched in reverb and echo, and it's just harsh on the ears. It's a little annoying. It's very repetitive, and I'm not thrilled with the remix of Hello Again. So I would give this one a thumbs down. The next bonus track is the demo of Drive, and it's 4 minutes 44 seconds, so it's longer than the original version. And I wrote down it's a nice distraction from the somewhat overplayed LP version. To me, it's a curio, but it's not essential. But if you want to hear a different version of Drive, check it out. The next bonus track is called One More Time at 4 minutes long. It's an early version of Why Can't I Have You? And I really like the version of this song better. It's not overproduced by Mutt. It has real instruments on it, and it's definitely worth a listen. So if you don't like Why Can't I Have You, because you think it just sort of sits there or lays there, and it's a bit of a snoozer, check out One More Time, the early version. I highly recommend it. Another one called Baby I Refuse, 3 minutes 51 seconds. It's an early version of I Refuse. Another tune worth hearing, less produced, and it has a full Elliot Easton guitar solo on it.
Oh,
So that's
nice.
why I recommend checking out Baby I Refuse, the early version of I Refuse. Next up, there's an early version of Heartbeat City called Jackie, Jacki. So that's why there was probably a misprint on the record label, because when Rick wrote it, the song was called Jackie, and then he took the album title Heartbeat City from the song, but then they ended up changing the song to Heartbeat City.
Yeah.
To me, this is very similar to the album version, maybe with a little less bells and whistles on it. It's like a fully formed demo.
Hmm.
So I'd stick with the album version, which you and I both love, Tom.
Yeah.
And the last song I'm going to talk about here is the B side of the Why Can't I Have You 45, and it's called Breakaway. 3 minutes 47 seconds, 347. And I love this rare track. It's very produced by Mutt, but it's got great keyboards, vocals, and it's even got this an Elliot Easton guitar solo that's extended, but it sounds like it's treated somehow. It doesn't sound like one of those normal Elliot Easton guitar solos. I think it's treated with studio production, but it's still a really cool solo. This song to me is a must hear. It might even be a bit more, it sounds like a Rick Ocasek solo song from one of his 80s solo albums. So
Hmm.
maybe that's why it wasn't on the record. But I always recommend this song. I recommend this song. I always liked it a lot. It's not my favorite Cars B side, but it's up there, and I think it's a worthy addition to their catalog. What do you think of Breakaway? One
Yeah,
word, by the way,
I
Breakaway.
agree. I'm with you. I think it's very strong. I think it's a strong B-side. And I mean, there's some people, I saw some comments online that were like some people were like should have made the album. I mean, there's a lot of people that feel like this is a really strong Cars song. So for a B-side, it's strong. I agree. I like it.
I would probably replace Why Can't I Have You
Yeah, I
with
mean, I would
Breakaway.
too. I would too.
Would have made side two stronger, a bit more rocking and
Yeah,
upbeat. Because just that, Why Can't I Have You? It's so mellow.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
it's one gear, it's mellow. So
Super
switch it
mellow.
up with Breakaway, you'd have a slightly stronger record in both of our opinions.
Agree. I totally agree. Yep. So there you go. So man,
So
look at that.
that's a lot of songs we went through, 16 songs.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. I
And
mean,
there were even more songs, but we're going to save those from in 1985. The Cars put out a greatest hits record with an unreleased song at the time and a different version of an earlier song. But so we don't do too many songs in this episode. We're going to move them to our next episode, the Door to Door episode, discuss the 11 songs on Door to Door. Couple of demos I have on my. I always show this in every episode.
yeah.
Couple of demos on this, the
Yep.
Cars 2 CD anthology, which we're
Mhm.
going to discuss. So it's going to be about the same amount of songs in our next episode that we discuss.
Absolutely.
And this
Absolutely.
is a really cool collection. If you don't have it, just what I needed, the Cars 2 CD anthology. It has B-sides, it has a couple of demos. Definitely a worthy addition. You get like 36 songs, of course, 2 CDs.
Mhm.
Highly recommended.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Heartbeat City is recommended as well.
Yes, even though it hasn't aged as well to me. I think when I did my Cars album ranking on my channel, Cretin Classics, it's one of the first album rankings I did about almost 3 years ago, I think 2 or 3 years ago when I started. And it was toward the lower reaches, but that doesn't mean it's a bad album. Just to
Hmm.
me, the production, and because I think Mutt overproduced it a little. A lot of people talk about how Jeff Lynne overproduced a lot of stuff in the 80s. And I think Mutt Lange did the same, especially to the Cars. I think the album would have sounded better and dated better if they stuck with Roy Thomas Baker, but bands and producers, I mean, Rush changed from oh my God, his name just flew out of my head.
Harry Brown or
Yes,
yeah.
thank you. Terry Brown. He was with them from the early 70s or 74 till 82 through Signals. Then they changed direction, it changed Rush's sound a lot to the
Yeah.
detriment of a lot of Rush fans. Personally, I like the 80s stuff, but I'm the
Right.
odd duck there. So I think change in producer, like you said, really affected the album. It brought them a wider audience, but it may have alienated them a little from their hardcore fan base.
Yeah, it's definitely a little overproduced. I think you put it perfectly. It's a tad overproduced,
Yeah.
and there's time, and it like you said, this album is so stamped 1984. It's like whoosh 1984, like it's just so in that time. But that being said, there's still, like you said, there's not really a bad Cars record.
Right.
And I mean, even when you and I would do the same. I would put this lower than the Roy Thomas Baker records probably. But that being said, that doesn't mean it's a bad album. And there's some really good songs. And like you said, we went through it and we're like, oh yeah, we like this one, we like this one, we like this one. I mean, there's a lot of good songs on this album. It's just the style of production. And from what I understand, when I read the book, they said this album was a slog to make. Like it was just like or you know,
Mutt.
Mutt was he was known for that, right? Do it again, do it again, do it again, do it
Yeah,
again.
just
He was
repeated takes a
uh,
taskmaster. 7 months in
yes,
1984, and the Cars I don't think had ever spent that long in the studio before. I'm sure Rick loved it because
yeah.
it's
Rick
his
was probably in
vision,
his
his
element. Yeah,
band, and the
right.
other guys were like, "Oh, we just want to get out of the studio."
Yeah, are we done yet? Like, I mean, imagine being like David Robinson. You're like, oh my God, are we like, what are we doing today? Like, should I be here? Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those. But yeah, but I think that's to me, maybe that's what the detriment on this album is just the a little pounded into the ground production wise, and it's very 80s. So anyway, but that's just, it's sort of nitpicking because it is still a strong record. And like all the Cars records are pretty good if you ask me. So
And
yeah, what's that?
Oh, I was just gonna say, tell us what you think about Heartbeat City
Yeah.
overall as a Cars record in the comments below.
We want to know. Let us know what do you guys think? Where would you rank this album in their discography? What are your favorite songs and least favorite songs on this record? I'll read all the comments. I want to know. Davey and I both want to know. We inquiring minds. We want to know. So let us know. And Davey, thanks again. You always bring your A games. Thanks again for coming back and doing more cars with me. This is so much fun. I
Thanks for
mean,
having me back.
this is a band that's worth digging into every record. It's just totally worth it, and it's fun, and I love it. And it's so cool that you saw them on this tour too. Like I didn't see them on. I never saw the Cars live, so it is cool that you saw them. And that's it. I would just say, like and subscribe. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. It helps the channel. Go check out Cretin Classics. It's an awesome channel, and go listen to some Cars. I mean, go check out, take out Heartbeat City, crank it up, and let us know what you think. Uh, so that's it, people. Oh, if you're with us this long, you must be a Cars fan. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Curless Mania. See ya.
Thanks. Bye bye.